Ladies and gentlemen, we are live.
Welcome to the podcast, lads. This is Liam O'Griffin here, joined by Paul O'D. And how's it going? You're on screen as well, by the way.
Yeah.
So this particular episode is an interview. We had Mr. Jason Kearns from Dubai fighting in HFC. So I was having a chat with him. Paul, you kind of set up the interview, but
Yeah, I noticed that he was fighting over in Dubai, making his pro debut. He's been training with Brian Moore out of Wexford last year and a bit during the lockdown. So I just thought it'd be an interesting one to get his perspective on fighting abroad, kind of representing Ireland. And but I believe you met him before.
Yeah, I met him actually in Dubai on the roof of a hotel over in Dubai when Ryan Spillane fought in the inaugural Reign MMA Championships, and Jason was already living in Dubai at that stage, and he happened to be the local Irish lad that was on the card. He won his fight that night. I think he cracked him out with a right hand and then guillotined him into oblivion. And he kind of, we were chatting to him. We were in the same changing room, and he happened to have trained with John Cavan as well while he was in Ireland.
Yeah.
And we just kept in touch afterwards. He came back the following year, then just visiting family. In like kind of later in the year. And he wanted to try out for the Irish team going to the IMAFs. And at the time, he was fighting at featherweight, and there was a lot of guys ahead of him in the featherweight rankings in Ireland. You know, you had the likes of, I'm trying to think now, at featherweight, you would have had Alexander O'Sullivan, and you would have had there was a lot of guys anyway that were, you know, it would have been very, very hard to get a spot in the team at that stage. But one spot did arrive at bantamweight, and I messaged him and I said, right, if you can make bantamweight and you can get yourself registered, there's a spot there for you. And sure enough, he did it. He jumped on it. Yeah. He made his way from Dubai to Bahrain, and he fought against the Kazakhstani fighter. Now, it was a great fight. He didn't get the win, but a phenomenal experience for him. And we kept in touch afterwards. Whenever he's home, he's kind of training in a few different gyms around the East Coast there. And as you say, he's a Wexford man, so himself and Brian Moore are a kindred spirit.
Yeah.
Merv Mulholland
putting MMA on the map down there in
Wexford MMA on the map. So yeah, the Merv Mulholland is his coach over in Dubai. I believe their gym name is Bushido MMA.
Bushido MMA. Yeah.
So yeah, good lad, and it was good to talk to him. So I suppose without further ado, we'll play the tape.
Cue it up.
Right, so I'm joined by Mr. Jason Kearns all the way from Dubai, courtesy of the miracles of Zoom. Mr. Kearns, how are you, sir?
Good, thank you. And yourself?
Struggling as always, but we're getting there anyway. Come here, you had a fairly intense scrap at the weekend on HFC. Do you want to give us a rundown of how that went and what was the event like?
Yeah, it was a great event now. So I was running like Burridge Park there. So obviously you've been out here, you've seen the Burj Khalifa. So I was run just in a park outside, just beside this. They put up kind of temporary barriers and stuff like that, and assemble a cage, all that. Like, you know, it's a great setup for a temporary job. And it was outdoor, but the weather's cooled down a bit here, but it's still quite hot, you know. So it was a great event anyway, but got in there in first round, kind of done everything I planned. Nearly got a heel hook in the first round.
Yeah, that
just
kind
of
tight.
Panicked. It was, but Merv was he didn't say it, but I'd say he was fit to kill me after, like, that I didn't finish it, because drilling him the whole time like he's lethal at them, and I just didn't get it up high enough my armpit to really reap it.
Yeah.
It was probably on a bit, like, that guy was a tough guy. He wasn't tapping for much, like.
Yeah,
and I went to change it to
look like the kind of guy that was going to tap for anything, like.
No, I went to change to a toe hold then, and I kind of lost it a bit then, and he started to come up on me. But I had a little calf slicer up my sleeve that Merv had been drilling me when someone turns out a heel hook, just switching the shin onto it, and it's nasty, like, and if for some reason they don't tap, you have their back, like. But he kind of turned over the wrong way then, and he ended up kind of just grabbing me in a bit of a bulldog choke, like, you know, he's never going to finish me with that, like. So I was kind of just hanging out there until his arm got a bit tired, and I knew I was going to be able to pop out the back. Funnily enough, I fought his friend in my last amateur fight in February, and actually how I finished him was it was kind of popped out the back like that, took his back and finished him by rear naked choke.
Okay.
So he was kind of doing the same thing. I was like, right, this is going to go the same way. So it popped out the back, but he actually turned then and gave up a mount.
Yeah, his knee looked like it was in a very precarious spot there as he was coming out the back door. I'm shocked that he didn't tear his ACL or some form of ligament in his knee.
He possibly could have.
He probably could. Yeah, he looks like the kind of guy that just wouldn't tell you.
But yeah, then I took mount, and we've been actually drilling a lot of kind of mount control. And sorry, lights come off there. We've been drilling a lot of mount control and high S mount, and just not overcommitting and keeping the balance, and he tried to get me off a few times, but I could clearly hear Merv, right hand out, left hand out, kept control, like for most of the first round, was landing a few elbows. I must have landed a few more than I thought. My right elbow is actually in bits at the minute now. I assume his head is worse, but sure.
Yeah.
Heard Merv saying then like last 30 seconds, and it's like, right, gotta try get this guy out of here. So it's like armbar. Transition to it nice, got it tight. I've just actually got to see it back there today, like, and it looked like his arm was completely hyperextended.
Yeah,
but totally. He didn't have.
Yeah.
And so that was the end of the first round. And I know it's easy to say it, like, and I've said it before, and we've drilled it, and Merv has said it, but like, not to drop the head. But when you're so close to getting someone out there, it's very tough to get up and go out for the second round.
Yeah, it's a huge adrenaline.
But then I look over. Yeah, Matt. Like, I just, even though I had a great first round, completely won the first round, I'm kind of like, I should be finished now.
Yeah.
I should have had him out of here. But back to the corner, I was a little bit disappointed that I hadn't finished him. But look over at his corner, and he's on the ground. I knew I had him very, very tired. Came out the second round. Then, as I said, it was outside, and although the weather has cooled down a bit here, it got very sweaty. And that's kind of like, right, I don't think I'm going to be able to grapple him and hold him the same and get him down the same in the second round with the sweat. Like, it was just very, very slippy. And I was happy enough with my striking then the second round, but got a bit of clinch to the cage, and I caught him a nice knee, and I was kind of admiring it a bit. And while he caught me one back. Yeah. And it was a nice knee. Now, the ref actually said to me afterwards, he's like, geez, I've not seen anyone take a knee like that and just keep coming forward after. He's like, I thought you were gone. But kept coming forward. And to be honest, I thought I was going to get him out there at the end of the second round then. Second round was a bit of a blur, to be honest. Like, I took a good knee.
You looked like you were landing the heavier shots. Apart from that knee, you were landing the heavier shots. I mean, all the hooks, and you were kind of leaping forward the hooks and uppercuts, and you were catching him. Like, so I had that second round scored for you. I had the first round at 10-8 and the second round scored for you.
Yeah. So
tell us the third round.
Well, that second round, I had been working those hooks, stepping out, and I caught him a couple of them, and he put his hand up after a while. He was feeling them. He was rocked a bit, and he wobbled back against the cage right at the end. And I thought I was going to get him out of there then, but again, the buzzer bet me. But third round, then I kind of I was a bit in my head. I knew I'd won the 2 rounds. It's kind of a bit of a mistake on my part that it was obviously new territory for me as well. Going into 3 5-minute rounds.
Absolutely.
But it's kind of like, right, I got to be a little bit cautious here. Like, this guy's a bit wild. He knows he has to knock me out now. And I didn't commit too much. And I think if I had committed more at the start of the third round, I could have put him away. He was, like, I seen him at the end of the second round. He was sitting down. I was tired as well. That knee took a bit out of me. Like, I have a good gas tank, but when you get a shot, it does empty the gas tank too. I kind of was trying to be just a little bit evasive and a little bit kind of cautious of that wild hook that he was capable of throwing. But I thought I'd done well in the third round with leg kicks and a couple stomps to the thigh into the knee, just kind of stopped them coming forward. And I had up the legs a bit, and third round then kind of just played out like that. Like most people I've been talking to still thought, they said I won the third round or it was close enough, but could have went either way. But the scores were read out then, a bit strange, but the commentator said it to me afterwards that it was just a mistake and he read them out. But one judge did give it to him. I don't see how one judge gave it to him, but
Yeah, that was very strange because my stream cut in like halfway through the third round, so I didn't actually see the
Yeah,
scores. I assumed after the first 2 rounds you were after winning the fight, and I was like, yeah, he's grand, no bother to him.
yeah.
Send him best of luck later on, whatever, do you know. But yeah, it was someone else said it to me afterwards, and it was called as a split decision win for the other guy, and then they walked it back then afterwards. Is that how it happened?
No, it was called as no, it was called as I won. So it was already
Okay.
there, but it was called as a strange score. It was called as like 30-20 by the first judge.
Oh, nice.
Um, so yeah, that'd be a good achievement considering like 10-7 is the lowest round, unless
Yeah,
you
yeah.
get a point taken off you like. But yeah, the commentator actually just read it out wrong. So it was like I think 30-28. Um, and then one judge gave it 29-28
Mm-hmm.
to him. But I don't know where that judge got that out, to be perfectly honest. Like
They had him pointing
from
the other
my
way.
from my memory of the fight anyway, I don't think there was any judge should have given it to him.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe the judge was out looking out at the fountains and got distracted or something and
Yeah, yeah.
just wrote down the score at the end. But I was just a bit disappointed I didn't get him out there. Like when I was so close at the first round and then again the second round. But just look, first pro fight, delighted to get the win, and
Yep.
it was good experience as well. I suppose at least now I know I have 3-5 minutes in the tank after taking a heavy knee as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And what was the promotion, Human Fight Championships? What was the promotion like to work with, and how did you get on with them?
Yeah, good. Yeah, they're very professional. Like in fairness, COVID test, all that before it, that was all provided. Sponsored by a hospital, provided for free, all that. So yeah, it was all done very safe. It's outdoor then as well, which I suppose in the current situation is minimising the risk as well.
Absolutely.
Keeping the distance as much as it can, and then yeah, like we were COVID tested, everyone was negative. It was well run there. It was a little bit late starting. I mean that happens a lot, and some people said they had a bit of trouble with the stream cutting out, but I don't know. The only thing I say is that the stream seemed to be live,
Yep.
and then it continued live, so you can't actually watch it back.
Yeah, that's
So
exactly.
I haven't actually got to watch back the full fight yet. I just seen a couple of snippets there. Like I seen Andy Stevenson had the armbar, a snippet of it up on Twitter, so I got that. But yeah, I want to watch back the full fight because you know yourself, like when you're in there, it's hard to recall it exactly. Like, but I'm sure I'll get that footage. It's there. It's just a matter of I might get them off and ask them to upload the whole thing as a restream.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's next for you now? Have you got something in the pipeline for early 2021? Are you taking the rest of the year off?
Like originally I signed a contract to fight UAE Warriors. Just after I was home in the summer there, I was training down with Brian Moore for a while, and that was in like August. And I was at that stage I got a pro contract because I came down to train with Brian. I was like, I'm gonna get a pro contract today, man. And he was like, geez, fair play. So I went back, like was training hard, then came back out, and then that guy pulled out a fight, and I don't know, it was a bit strange. Like I messaged him then on Instagram after, and I was like, "Are you up for fighting or what, man? If you're not, just tell me, like, because I want to fight someone else. Like, I don't really care." And he's like, "Yeah, no, I'll fight you."
I was talking to Carl Keller and from MTK Global, and he was saying that that was some sort of a grudge match or something, or was it a grudge match because he wouldn't fight you? Is it?
Because he can fight. I'm not person, like I'm not against him.
Yeah.
He's based here, he's from the UAE, and to be honest, I think I'll run through him. But his last two opponents have been a joke, like really, really poor, So he's 2 or maybe even 3 as a pro, but he hasn't fought anyone with any sort of decent experience or even amateur career or anything like that. But he's saying he'll fight me, and then they have another event on the 27th of this month, and they were saying no, he won't fight yet. That, and Carl was trying to get it organised, like no, he won't fight you. And I messaged him and he's like, yeah, I will fight you. So I don't know what's going on. He's telling them one thing, he's telling me another thing. So I was just like, whatever. I said to Carl, look, Carl said this new event is happening in HFC. I was like, yeah, cool. If they can get me an opponent, get me on it. So that's what happened. And that guy that I fought, that turns, he's a good guy. Like, he's 17-2 as an amateur. And he's had, for some reason his record is not right, but he's had, I think, 3 pro fights. He's won one. Now he's last two now. But he fought my teammate, Adabek, who's like they fought at 66, like he was a weight class above. And that went to decision as well. Like he gave Adabek a really good fight. And Adabek's a really good, like strong guy, really good wrestler. He's on a good run in UAE Warriors, So I took this fight knowing it was going to be a tough fight. Like this guy wasn't going to go out there easy. But look, I've got the job done, so now it's just on to the next for me. I don't really care where or who or when. Like HFC, they've been good to me. They give me the fight. It all went through. Nobody pulled out. So I can't have any complaints about it. And they said for anyone fighting on the first event that they were going to give us 3 fights. So that's fair enough, So I'm expecting to get 3 more fights out of them. Depending on what they haven't said when their next event will be, whether it be before the end of the year or whether it be 2021. But I'll go again 27th of November if UAE Warriors want to get that matchup made. If that guy's ready to fight, I'll go again end of November. I got the nose X-ray today just to be sure it's not broken or anything. So yeah, I'm all good. A little bit tender, but no serious injuries or anything, no. So yeah, I'm good to go as soon as.
So you're out there in Dubai. How long are you out there now?
3 years now. Well, a bit over. It's February 2017. I moved out here.
And long-term plan to stay in Dubai, or do you come? Are you coming back to represent Wexford on this side of the planet?
Look, I'm always representing Wexford no matter where I am. But
that's very true.
I don't know. Yeah, like at the minute, I don't really make a plan. Like I never came here to fight. That was never the plan. I came here to teach. I'm still working in education, and I have a good full-time job at that, and it's reasonably well paid and it's tax-free. And I'm lucky enough, I've got health insurance included in the job. Like I was able to go get myself checked out there without any massive bills. So things are going pretty good. Like, so at the moment, I don't see any reason to change it. I'm getting an opportunity to fight here. I've got a good thing going on. The work is flexible enough. I'm basically being able to train like a full-time professional athlete, but still keeping the bit of work going. So I'm not kind of going one fight to the next, wondering how I'm going to pay my rent either. So it's nice in that way to have a bit of security. Yep. So for the moment, things are going good. So I don't think I'll change them anytime in the immediate future, anyhow.
And is there talk of is there a vaccine on its way out in Dubai at the moment? There was some sort of Twitter feed going on there.
I won't say too much.
Yeah. Jesus, yeah.
Apparently there is. Yeah, apparently there was a video or a picture on Twitter the other day, or maybe it was Instagram, something. The Sheikh was getting the vaccine.
Okay.
Now some people are questioning, was the vaccine even available yet? I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, there's like Abu Dhabi now, obviously, as you know, it's a different emirate.
Yeah.
So that's treated like there's a border there now, and you have to get a COVID test to pass that border. So some of the guys I'm friends with actually work across the border, so they have to get tested every week across the border. And now apparently there's new rules that if you're staying in Abu Dhabi, you have to get tested again within 4 days, and then on the 8th day again. So Abu Dhabi are really trying to clamp down to make sure nobody brings it in. Yeah. But then also apparently there's like an express lane that you can just go if you have taken the vaccine. So it must be available to people if they want it. I don't know. Like, I won't be going looking for it myself, and put it that way. But apparently it is there if you want it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you seem to be kind of further along in terms of controlling the pandemic than we are here in Europe, anyway.
Yeah, like it's hard to know really. I don't put much past on it myself. I'm living my life day to day. Like I think it annoys me that they're back in Ireland. I'll be talking to the parents and stuff, and I'm like, will you just stop watching the news? Just like, you're not going to Kildare, you're in Wexford, so it doesn't matter what's happening in Kildare, and it definitely doesn't matter what's happening in China. So
yeah.
And it's like I just I'm keeping to myself. Like keeping to my own couple of, like my coach Merv and Adabek, my main sparring partner. Last couple of weeks is kind of just the 3 of us training together, like minimizing that circle as much as we could. Everything is done very professionally out here, in fairness. Like nothing is closed, everything is open. You can go to the gym You can go out for food. You can even go for a few pints if you want, but it's sitting down, it's table service, it's 6 at a table, and if you're messing around, like there will be a big bouncer and he'll throw you out, like, and the cops will probably come, like, and you'll be fined for it. And that's people just kind of obey it out here, you know. But in terms of the figures and stuff, I don't really look at them, but I think it's not far different than Ireland or anything. It's just they're testing so many people here. Like, we all had to get tested when we came back after the summer for work. Some people have to get tested every single week for work. Like, there's thousands and thousands of people being tested, you know. So I think what you need to do is you need to base your figures off the tests, the amount of tests done, you know, because it is obviously relative. But even more so than that, I think the figures need to be based off people that are actually hospitalized. Because a few of my friends have actually got it out here, you know, and had to do the quarantine and stuff like that, the isolation for 14 days, but none of them had any symptoms, you know. None of them were actually sick with it or anything like that. So I think if you just look at people who are actually being hospitalized and how much of a strain it's putting on the health system, it'll kind of give a more true story and kind of let people relax a little bit. Because in Ireland now, you know, it's rough on a lot of businesses and gyms and restaurants, and you know, I know it's obviously a serious thing, but again, the economy and people's mental health and all that is also a very serious thing, you know. And people going for cancer checks and all this kind of thing is also very serious. So it's hard to know. It's hard to know where it's going to go. That, but I feel blessed that I'm here and I'm able to get a fight, you know, and I'm able to keep training, and you know, I'm able to go out for a meal at the weekend, keep social distance. You know, you wear your mask when you go out, you take it off when you sit down. Yeah. And you know, as normal as things can be in the world, it's relatively okay here. Like,
very good. And you mentioned Merv there, so do you want to give a shout out to the gym and obviously your training partner?
Yeah, so just
any new
shout out to Merv
that we need to keep an eye on that coming out of the gym there in the next few years as well.
Yeah, so Merv is running his own thing, Bushido MMA out here, and so I would actually be kind of his first professional fighter that he's brought through, kind of from scratch, I suppose you say. Adabek would have been fighting for a couple of years, you know, he trained different places, and then he kind of he used to work in the same gym as Merv, and kind of they got mixed up that way. But he's training with us now like the last good while, and he's had a couple of fights at UAE Warriors. He's going well. I reckon he'll get a title shot there if he gets another couple of wins under his belt. Yeah, so a couple of good guys here, you know, a couple of guys coming from like all the kind of the stands, you know, the Dagestan, the Kazakhstan, all those kind of wrestling guys. There's a couple of them here, and Merv can get him a bit of his grappling skills and his striking skills to mix in with that wrestling, and it'll be dangerous too, you know. So yeah, I've got a good thing going on here now, surrounded by good people, and I mean, I've come a long way in a relatively short time towards a lot of people. I'm very focused on it, and you know, I'm surrounded by good people and good sparring partners, and I think I'm just gonna keep getting better. I mean, when I think of the progress I've made in the last year, even it's like, right, if I can make that again the next year, I won't even know myself. Like, I always think, like, if I was to fight myself, you know, in my last fight, like, how would it go? Like, and genuinely think I'd be finishing myself like in a minute or two, you know. You know, I see that much improvement in myself. Like, it's great, like, because it drives me on to train every week, because I'm literally learning something new every single week, like, you know. Like, it was only last week that I learned actually to sidekick properly. Like, you know, and I threw two of them in the fight. Then actually in the third round, really kept the distance nice, caught him a nice one. When I switched to southpaw, caught him a lovely sidekick. But that's just I had a problem with my hip, and kind of just got it sorted there over the summer when I was home with Shane Flynn up in NGS. Like, shout out to him as well. Actually, anyone in Ireland with any niggles, he's the man to go to. He just has a complete different approach. He doesn't want you getting surgery, and he'd be confident enough he can fix you. But he's definitely fixed my hip and moving a lot better, and kind of just avoided side kicks because I thought, look, my hip doesn't really allow that movement. Like, but now with the correct technique and my hip fixed, I feel like that's actually a really good kick for me. So considering I started working them like a week or two ago, I'm looking forward to actually really throwing them into my game, like seeing how effective they were there for Dean Barry when he fought out here. So yeah, just things like that excite me, you know, that I'm still relatively so new to everything, like, and just keep working on this stuff. Like, I'm excited to see how far it can go.
Awesome. So we'll be looking out for HFC Championship. So in early 2021, we'll keep an ear to the ground for the UAE Warriors for November. Maybe you'll get an old quick turnaround scrap there.
Look, I'm sure I'll get a fight UAE Warriors at some stage as well. I mean, I fought with them as an amateur. You know, they've always looked after me well, and I've put on a show for them. I've always made weight. You know, everything like that. There's never been any issues. So. I signed a contract with him, and I'm hoping they'll honour that contract at some stage when that guy is willing to fight. They kind of seem to want me to fight him, not anyone else, so that's fair enough. They think it's a good matchup. I think it's a good matchup too. I think it'll be a good fight people there want to see. You know, a guy who's from here and based here, like born and bred here, and then a guy like me who's moved over and is based here and is fighting over here. You know, so I think it'll be a good fight. So hopefully it will happen in the future as well. But HFC, I said they gave me the chance and they were good to me. So the next event they have, I'm hoping to be honest and get the finish next time.
Sweet. For our viewers and listeners, where are they going to follow you on social media? What's your best channel?
Yeah, so Instagram is JO_KO, so JAYO_KO. Kind of want to use the most. I'm on Facebook. This is Jason Kearns as well, and I need to get the Twitter going. Seems to be
I was looking for that a while ago.
Coming back.
Yeah. I think the Twitter seems to be where a lot of the MMA kind of call-outs are happening. So you definitely need to get back on that one.
I think I must get my Twitter going now because it seems to be. But I say is where I suppose some of the more real fans are. For MMA, like people are genuinely interested and seem to be on Twitter and seem to be following it and stuff. Although it's funny enough, I actually I went on it the other day because obviously Andy Stevenson had been posting up some stuff and it just clicked into one of them, and typical Irish, like there was some guy who was commenting saying, "Oh, he's Irish, based out in Dubai. Dodgy, is it?" And Andy just wrote back and it's kind of like he's a teacher. You know, he went out there to teach, and then the guy has said something else, and Andy was kind of like not really sure what else to say to you. So I guess you get those kind of guys on all platforms. You're not going to get away from them.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't be Irish if he wasn't a bit begrudging.
Yeah, that's probably true. But yeah, no, I must get back on the Twitter and I'll share it on my Instagram when I do.
Do. Well, we'll tag you in on Twitter anyway and Instagram anyway as soon as this interview goes out. Jason, it's been great to catch up with you.
You too, Liam.
Congratulations again, and 1-0 and moving onwards and upwards, and we'll be keeping an eye on our Wexford Warrior out there in Dubai, representing the Wexford clan out there. So best of luck.
Perfect. Thanks very much, Liam. All right, take care.
Before we let you go, I have to give a big shout out to David Duke House Clothing for hooking us up with some great gear. They have a great selection of t-shirts and hoodies available for MMA fans. We'll drop the link in the description below, and make sure to follow us on all social medias and like and subscribe.
You can't stop us at Beard Express. Choo-choo, motherfuckers.
If he was a girl, you would say he has a badonkadonk.
I'm cool with all the gods. Gods recognize gods.
This is #1 bullshit.